What up, everybody, and welcome back to the Tam Talk. We have another one of the monthly, and it does come out. We record it, and it comes out every single month. UniVersus top 30. This one going into the Nats and Worlds season. The goal of this is tier lists are super lame, and so instead of, taking the 160 characters that we have and putting most of them in, this should be a coaster deal, coaster tier. I'm looking at what I think are the top 30 in order characters in UniVersus. So the goal of this is to look at the top 30 characters in the game from my opinion, Tam's list, and the top 30 from the community. I put out an all our ideas poll where I listed every single character, and I had you guys vote of who do you guys think is the best character going into the Nats / World season, because those will be the same format, and we'll be comparing lists. So before we get started, we do have to talk about what is new in comparison to what happened in the last tier list, which sadly was 3 months ago. We got all 4 lower decks. We've got the Tekken 8 characters. We got Attack on Titan Origins of Power. We got solo leveling, and we got the Dark Hero Arc Challenger series. All of these not available for the last format. I do think that the Dark Hero Arc Challenger was available during the last regional of last set, but I didn't put it in my top 30. And so when we are looking at it, the Dark Hero Challenger series is going to be on it. And so, without further ado, here is the tier list update. Starting with your 30th place, drumroll please. Crazy how the mighty have fallen. I have Endeavor 3 in the 30th place. I think this character is still very good. I think this character has a lot of legs. Milling 4 to get +2 speed. If you cycle this game, you get +3 damage. Is very cool. Getting to just add an attack up to your hand is very good. I think that Endeavor still has legs versus everybody below him. +2 speed on every single one of your moves is very good. Once you've cycled, getting that level up for +2, +3 on every move is very good. There are plenty of things inside of both Attack on Titan sets that say get a bunch of bonus mill to get him online very quickly. Things like Attack Titan's Haymaker say that on every attack of the game you get to mill an additional card. So he's gotten a lot of support. My issue is in the current format, I think that Endeavor 3 does not have the damage output needed in order to close out games a lot of the time, and doesn't have enough defense to keep them alive. They are giving the wrong stat, if that makes sense. And I think they're just a slightly too slow to finally get on the +2 damage. I will say that the coolest thing about Endeavor 3 is you do get to play Lethal Slash. So you play an attack, you play Lethal Slash, you draw your bonus card, and then you mill your 4, and then you remove it, and then you instantly on turn 2 get to just use your once per game to add the Lethal Slash back and sling it again. And so you just kind of get the free 8 damage. You have 5 Lethal Slashes in your deck, and you always draw the second one on turn 2 if you find it. And so there's some neat ideas to go along with this, but I just don't think it's quite strong enough to compete in the current format. In my 29th place, I've got Annie Lionheart. I think that this character, alongside the fact that the duplers exist, is so incredibly powerful. 7 hand size character that gets to build if we connect. You build your 3 duplers and you turn them all sideways, and then you give because your non-throw attack gets a bunch of damage, and then or your non-powerful attack gains throw, and then it can't get powerful. Blah 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 blah. It's very, very good, and the more duplers you have, the better. There is something here about a 7 hand size character that can just do this idea. It's very, very strong. And so I've got Annie. I think that the backside is honestly worse. If the fact that you have to, when you spend the momentum, you get to you're forced to transform rather than just getting to build for free forever. Honestly, makes this character a bit of a hindrance. But I think this character is good enough to stand on her own. 28th place, I have Mikasa, 7 hand size aggro character. I think this character is incredibly consistent. I think this character, as long as she just builds strong on her first turn and then draws 4 attacks, she might just all but murder everyone in the entire game. She just kind of just slings them. She just it's over. If you can't interact with her defensively, she will melt so many characters. 23 health is a little larger than the average 7 hand size character, and like once this character gets going, she wins a die roll, she gets going, she builds out huge. She's just going to melt you, and I think it's very easy for this character to just accidentally kill every 7 and 6 hand size character in the game, and then if you are not fast enough as a 5 hand size character, she'll just 2-tap you. Just like turn 1, she'll put you in the blender. Turn 2, she'll finish the job. The big thing is can she survive the 23 afterwards? Up next, I've got Mineta. This is a Mineta 2. This is purely a meta pick. I think that Mineta has a lot of play right now. A lot of characters are playing their game plan without with utilizing as slim of a stage as possible. Just like really utilizing their stage just as much as they can. And so with people playing with the minimum amount of foundations and people wanting to clean their card pool as effectively as they are, I think that Mineta is very good. And he also has access from AOT 1 and 2. The Ruin keyword I think is very good if you have any amount of flipping that you can do. I think this character is solid, and I think that the ability to stockpile any amount of momentum, reduce the speed to 0, redraw the card, get your free block. There's even more card pool stuff that you can do on block with things like cheerful uppercuts. I think this character is annoying. I think the issue that Mineta has, truthfully, is how do you consistently close out games? If you can figure out how to win the game as Mineta consistently, like for your 9-round tournament, I think that this character should be on people's lists. But I am just nervous to like find 2 bad rounds of variance and just be knocked out of the tournament whenever you find something that is a little counterproductive. And so there it is. Up next, I've got Sam Rutherford, Resourceful Engineer, 630. Response after non-throw attack is played, switches speed and damage, enhanced attack gets +1 or -1 speed or damage. This is another pick that's very much in the same vein as Mineta of, hey, this character is just really annoying. If we have 2 perfectly oiled machines just like ramming their heads into each other, the game's going to be over very quickly. Mineta and now for this pick, Sam, do their absolute best to like play their game plan and then just like gunk up what you have going on when it comes to your game plan. Like they just like you look at like what Godzilla does versus Sam. The answer is Godzilla pumps one stat really well. It's a damage stat, and so like you play like a 4 low for 12, right? And Sam goes, actually at response speed I'm gonna switch him, so now it's a 12 for 4, and then I'll just give him -1 damage. Godzilla's entire job is to like try and land 3 really meaty moves. Sam says you have to land 10 of those. And because Godzilla makes up for the damage on his face, there isn't a lot of like onboard answers to like refreshing that damage back. There's not a ton of powerful moves happening. And so like, and there's a ton of characters that are postured that way of if at response speed my move got switched, it's gonna mess up my game plan pretty severely. And so for that reason, I really like what Sam has got going on. Again, same thing with Mineta. You got to figure out how to kill him. If you can figure out how to get the job done, to actually win the game, I think that Sam's a pretty decent pick. 25th, we've got Overhaul. I think there's just like too many good life foundations that have come out in the last set that like we've got more flip 1 foundation : foundations, which is the big thing that I think that Overhaul lost with set 1 rotating, and the reason that he hasn't been like so pristine. But I do think that that Overhaul has some moves. I just think that we don't have somebody like really putting in the reps to like make it happen, to really push through the wall to make an Overhaul happen, because I do think that it's just gonna take a lot of work, because in previous formats he's been all about like his best friend has been things like passing the torch of the commit, redraw, flip, and then replay it so you can draw again to like make him that pseudo 9 maybe 8 maybe 9 hand size character. I think with this character losing those very easy to play advantage pieces, not that they don't exist, but it's really easy to play advantage pieces. You just have to put in more work on this character, but I don't think that he's bad. I mean, this character with Midst of Despair is like gross. It's so gross. And so like you just have to put in the work, and then I think you can get your wins easy. Up next, we've got Bertolt Hooverin. You're going to go Tam. I think this is really, really low. And this is a tough pick. I think this is a really tough pick at 24th. I think TC's done a lot of really good work with this character. And here's what I'm going to say about Bertolt Hoover 1. We'll call him. I think this character is one of those classic characters that just plays UniVersus better than everybody below him. I think Bertolt Hoover plays the game better than everybody below him. If you block my stuff, I'm going to grab momentum, a resource that every character wants to have in the game. I'm not a 6 hand size character. I can form and then redraw. And then once I do get flipped, every move has 3 extra damage and stun 1. And I'm going to burn and ruin you when I make my flip happen. Like Bert on the front side feels really, really solid as just the first 3 turns of the game, I am just better than you because my character makes up for anything my stage could have possibly wanted me to have. Not to mention the entire idea, like one of my favorite tactics right now in the chaos symbol are things like using Award the Victor and some sort of form or response speed draw after a hit in order to relift. And Bert says that you don't have to have the second half of that tactic to find. It's now a 1-card combo. I find Award the Victor, that idea is online. And so like being able to play Kraken, it hits, I discard redraw Kraken is like stupid. It's just stupid. And then like if you full block the Kraken, it's gonna go to my momentum. Like Kraken is like, Kraken and Determined Advance in this character are very, very unfair cards. He just is like 6 hand size, 35 health, utility, 6 hand size, 35 health, chaos utility, rather than like chaos beat stick, if that makes sense. 23rd, I've got Ryukyu. I still think this character is nuts. I still think this character draws too many, like every single one of her attacks is a cantrip, and then whenever she does decide to kill you, all of her moves get +4 damage. I think that her ability to still be able to play vertical maneuvering equipment is stupid. I think it's one of my least favorite things in the game currently. It's just like how non AOT characters still get to play that card. I don't know why the spin of momentum, change the zone isn't AOT locked, like AOT character locked. It's just it's baffling to me. If that didn't exist, Ryukyu would be probably off the list. But the fact that you could just like slam 4 verticals in your deck with a straight face and go, it's a 1 mid block at worst, and at best it is I get 2 auto block things. Yeah, she no longer has the I play my blank foundation and I get to redraw and do the thing. But like you still just like you still get to do this with all of the attack cards. All of the attack cards get to do the loop. And so like, yeah, she did get nerfed. That's why she's not like top 10 anymore, but I still think this character very, very much has legs. 22nd, I got Paul Phoenix. I think as long as a strategy like this exists of my game plan is I'm going to commit or you're going to commit all of your foundations, you're going to miss and I'm going to kill you for it, is very good. Discard a card for stun 2 is very strong. I think the issue is twofold. Number one, I think that people are playing the game with much leaner, cleaner stages, and so they're not building to 12 foundations so that you have one absolutely massive dunk all the time. And 2, I think this guy has no real defense, specifically under these 3 symbols. I think that your defense or disruption is like really lacking, and so that 29 actually gets kind of melted because your face doesn't really do anything. And so your opponent is allowed to not just like overextend for free, and just like you have to do a lot of work as Paul, and that discard a card out of your hand for the stun 2 is actually a real cost. Like it is pretty severe when you're only a 6 hand size character. Like, and so like you've got this puzzle of, okay, how do I get enough cards in my hand if they don't fall into my trap, or if they do fall into my trap, I mean they fell into your trap, you're probably fine. And so, as Apprentice said, like high highs, low lows, I think that is very fair. I think the number one thing about Paul is I think that you are allowed to play around him. Just don't overcommit. Like, just don't push for it. And I think a lot of times Paul can't kill you. He's got to work very, very, very hard to do it. On my 21st spot, I've got Hawks, not because I think the character is bad, but strictly because I think nobody's going to play him. I think the idea of being, we have watched Hawks, I think, top the last 3 US events just off the back of Ryan. I think that he's just a good character, but you just have to play so slowly. You're like, your goal is to get 2 games in, and then you focus attack and feathers and do the thing. And he got order support but there isn't really anything else. He's just the same Hawks deck that he was. I don't think that Hawks is exceptionally strong outside of like doing this one idea. But sometimes that one idea is just gonna kill you on turn 3, turn 4, and can survive till turn whatever. I mean, this character plays Showdown like nobody's business. And so like any character that's like, hey, I'll change your move to high, I'll swap it speed and damage, I'll Showdown you, tap down your entire board. Like Hawks versus when we look at things, something like a Burt 2, right? When the flip does happen, I will swap the speed and damage, I'll feather you once, I will Showdown you, and everything that you had built is committed now. Like all of it. Combining that with like any other tricks that you might have, I think this character is decent enough at being disruptive. Again, you just have to be able to stop the focus attack idea. So, sorry, you have to be able to play the focus attack idea as Hawks. If that gets stopped, then what do you do? And there you have it. There is 21 through 30. This is always like the hardest section to do, of like who is on the cusp of greatness. And honestly, like I think that there are enough of like the 31 through 35, maybe even 31 through 40 that you could slot in here instead, that I think are good. You could easily make a case for, which is neat, which is very, very cool. This is a hard one. So moving on to 20th place, I have Toga 3. I think Toga 3 is down here because I still think that she has the biggest issue, and that is she is a 6-hand size aggro character. Yes, she is very consistent if she lands the hit. I think that there are decks now that are very good at making her not hit. And I think that she lost her most important piece, which is just Risky. I think that Risky is very, very strong. I think it's a thing that really pushed this character up and above. And now that she has lost Risky, I think that it is harder for her to be that 6-hand size aggro character without having her ace in the hole in her discard pile, right? You have to go back to that chaos pattern of like, I have to hit you with a bunch of slow 5 difficulty moves, and I think the game's just like evolved past this. Anyways, up next, I've got Bakugo 4. For literally the exact same idea of, I think that Bakugo 4 is very strong. I think he is a 6-hand size character. My big difference about Bakugo 4, and I might have him a little too low, is I think he's a really good fight into Bertolt. Anytime that Bertolt uses his ability defensively, Bertolt living weapon, I mean, uses a defensive ability defensively, you essentially get +1 damage on Bakugo. And so defensively, Bertolt is way weaker, and that is where a lot of that character's strength comes from. But I don't think that is enough to play into the rest of the field. I do think that Bakugo 4 has a lot of legs. I mean, discarding the card from your card pool and my rival discards a card says that I might just like kill you for free sometimes. But the real question is can my opponent play around it? I think that there's easy times for you to miss. I think missing is very easy with Bakugo. And again, you lost Risky as that I'm not gonna miss factor any longer. At 18th, I have Amajiki. I think Amajiki is, again, one of the best characters going first. If this character gets to go first, I think this character has a lot of legs. I think if this character goes second, I don't know how you win going second. I think that there is just the game is still fast enough that if you go second, you just get rocked. When I take and look at where the format is currently at like obviously we'll get there, but things like Godzilla and Burt and Rodan and like all of these like crazy people from the top, I think that Amajiki, if he goes second, just loses. So if you're really good at dice rolls, yeah, I think Amajiki's awesome. But I actually don't think that Amajiki really got anything crazy from Attack on Titan. I know that's sacrilege because there's so much momentum generation. Yeah, but all that momentum generation is all face down, so it actually doesn't like really help the once per turn enhance. And it does. And I don't want a once per game, just a bunch of lazy face downs and like turn them up for all willy-nilly, right? Like it's fine. But I don't think that Amajiki's like really pushed the envelope to be any bigger or better than he currently is. 17th, we've got Irwin. I still think this character is very good. I mean, we watched Kevin get a lot of wins without using Risky, but I think that Risky is the reason that he did win the tournament overall, because it was such a get out of jail free card. Again, I could see anybody on this top 30 list going and winning winning Worlds or Nationals, but I think that Irwin's just gonna have to work way harder in order to get there without the use of Risky. With that said, I mean, he's probably still like the best combined firepower deck. Like you could put his hat in there, or the idea of like using all of these Bing Bong cards that like, oh, if they hit the discard pile, do this cool thing. He's very good, but again, without Risky, I think it is really hard for him to close out the game accidentally. 16th, I have Recovery Girl. I think Recovery Girl is very strong. I think the big thing about Recovery Girl is I'm afraid of the top level of the meta just hitting her too hard for her to, before she gets built up. I think that if this character does get built up, she's the best character in the game. Like, she just like builds the wall. But I think in the current format, I think that if you're not playing a deck that can make, 8 to 10 damage swings consistently, I think that you're in the wrong idea, which is why, I mean, we had Endeavor at 30th, right? Because Endeavor can't really do that. I think that moves are hitting too hard for Recovery Girl to feel scary, and this is even with the idea of Duplo Recovery Girl. I do think that like Duplo Recovery Girl is probably the best way to play the character. This is I've not played this character. I've just done a little like armchair quarterbacking, you could say. I've put some stuff on paper, but like haven't tested any theories. But I think that like being able to just turn 3 of your foundations sideways for 9 extra damage, and then like, oh, it's a throw, and then you hit me and I build in more duplers, and like seeing that inevitable clock on Recovery Girl feels very good. But like if you do duplers, they trade for like defensive abilities, right? Because like it's Recovery Girl's hard. Recovery Girl's a hard deck. But with that said, if you're playing a bunch of printed base damage moves, Recovery Girl's gonna eat you for all over. I think that my issue is that nothing at the moment is coming for base stats. At 15th, I have Ghidorah. This is classic TamCardwell hates Ghidorah ideas. I think this character, I think heads are just getting taken a little too easily at the moment. Again, like with every other pseudo defensive character that I've talked about, I think that it's so easy for this character to just lose a head if they miss. Like things like Recovery Girl, like, hey, moves are coming in for double digits all the time. So like 3 hits from Recovery Girl and it's over. 3 hits from Ghidorah and it's over. Ghidorah does have a little bit of extra wiggle room of depending on, do they get the 4 stat manipulation cards of the +1 or -1 damage or +1 -1 speed if you're at 10 or less health, whatever the name of those cards are. Chat will help me out. If you find those, he shoots to the top. But like, finding them is difficult. Playing defensively enough to find them is difficult. And then we have 2 characters in the format that just nuke the board and say, hey, you don't have those anymore. And so it's a character that is stage reliant that a lot of the times you can't rely on your stage. And so if you fight against those top ones, it's pretty good. With that said, he is a character that says that if you are playing as Ghidorah and your rival does not know how to play into you, it's kind of a free win. And so it is there are definitely some real pros and cons of playing King Ghidorah. At 14th, I have Kenny Ackerman, the Ripper. I think this character is very, very slept on. I think +1 -1 damage, +1 speed, +1 damage to your ranged weapon attacks is very, very good. And I think that on the turn that Kenny is ready to kill you, that the ability of, if I poke you with a thing, you lose 3 health and discard a card is crazy. It's very, very good. It's very Bakugo flavored, except for on the turns that I'm not ready to kill you and I make my poke happen, I get to draw 2 cards and like become this 8 hand size character. All my moves get a little bit better. It's really, really good. I think that Kenny is really I think is going to be underrepresented in these top cuts, but I do want to put him where he's supposed to be. Combining that with the Ripper Arrives as a piece to just mutilate your hand, and that is a piece that Bakugo's not allowed to play because it's not a Fury, right? And so like you don't get to do the cool you're allowed to clear it and such, but you're not allowed to like give it the minus damage to give the plus damage to make it like a real move. And the fact that like Kenny activates the Ripper Arrives, like the Ripper Arrives is such a crazy card for this character. And I think that like even these defensive characters like your Rodans are going to get ripped to shreds, pun intended, by Kenny. I think this character is very, very strong. At 13th, I have Reiner Braun Warrior. I think this character, if you took pretty much every 6 hand size character in the game, 6 hand size aggro character in the game, and you put them all in a room together and you just all made them fight, I think Reiner wins like 80% of the time, strictly because of the way that his mill works, and because of like the idea of his defense is like not only blocking but also gaining health at this really awkward number of like I've got 17 and then I flip and I've got 17 more, and like one of those moves I'm gonna go down to 2 and you're gonna sling in like an 8 damage move at me, and it actually only did 2. Not to mention like his ability as a Chaos or Fire character to just like output a lot of moves very, 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 very fast. I think that Reiner has a lot of really crazy moves. The issue is when Reiner doesn't fight that 6 hand size aggro battle, I think that he can just like be defended against and disrupted pretty easily because of how his game plan wants to work. It is if you can defend against just I'm gonna play a lot of moves and I'm gonna put a lot of damage on them, right? If you don't interact with this, if you don't interact with the speed stat at all, then it is tough to it's tough to win as Reiner, right? You have to work so hard to the point where I think is actually a detriment. 12th, I have Sasha Blouse, Food Fanatic. I think that Sasha, with the identity of both Chaos and Life, stockpiles momentum faster than Amajiki. If you are looking to play Amajiki, you should just play Sasha instead. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that her ability to just like take a card from your stage and put it in and redraw is like dumb. It's very good. And then she also has the added benefit of just having Steady Shot. Sasha's Steady Shot is just like not a fair character, not a fair card inside this character. It just does too much, actually. If you are playing even having just like 4 1-diffs in your stage, like at the blitz speed, hey, it's a 6 mid for 6. It's got EX. I've got 5 momentum, so I'm gonna give it. It's got EX2 and powerful 3. With Sasha, I'm gonna give it 5 extra speed. With the powerful, I'm going to give it 15 damage. Okay, catch my unblockable 21 damage move. I got 5 momentum. I didn't do it all by just snacking. I got some hits in. This character just like plays bombs out of nowhere. And that's a way to play this character. The other way to play this character is you just build up your resources and you just say that everything has +5 damage for the low cost of discarding a card. And there's plenty of if discarded, then do this in the game. That like you just like you refresh your hand and like there's a lot of that going on that I think Sasha can take advantage of. I think this character is very, very strong. If you have not played her, you should. The only thing about Sasha to me is I think that you have to find a Determined Advances. And the Determined Advances is the thing that really keeping people off of this. That card is very expensive and hard to get. If you can find the Determined Advances, you absolutely should be playing Sasha as your momentum-based character. In another place, I've got Hanji Zoe 4 Eyes. I think that this character's ability to burst damage and the minus damage, the 7 hand size version of this, being able to like mess with her stage is very cool. Again, there are characters that actively want to destroy your stage, and so the fact that she's allowed to like build and then commit them and then destroy them and then add and then rebuild is like very cool and very bursty. But I don't know if that is explosive enough to. I mean, it's not explosive enough to put her in the top, but I do think that there is something with Hanji. I think that her ability under the death symbol to be able to utilize these what is it called? Combined Firepower, I think is very good. It's either her or Irwin as like these Combined Firepower decks. I was like, I think that Hanji is very, very good at like accidentally finding it on turn 2, but she also has this like 7-hand size rebuilding survivability of this -3 damage and like sacrificing 2 foundations, rebuild them in to like survive and win the game, because she doesn't have 21 health because of all the -3 damage she's doing. Combining that with blocking, combining that with whatever, combining that with you're allowed to take in like commit and build the, if they hit the discard pile, cards face down, and then just like save them for way later, and my rival just has no idea. Not to mention like she plays the really good outwit cards, right? Like imagine like you've calculated exact damage even through the minus damage from Hanji, but she's got a momentum, and so she's like, commit minus damage, I'll put a Titan injection in my stage and be fine. And like now you have to sit there and be like, okay, I have to do all my calculations with the Titan's injection in mind. I think this character has a lot of legs that the other other characters in her category just don't. And so there it is. There's my 11 through 20. I thought that this was pretty easy. I think there's some wiggle room, and it's really tough to like land exactly where like things should exactly line up. I might have Hanji like a little high. I might have things like Ghidorah or Recover Girl a little low. You guys just have to let me know what you guys are thinking. But I think like broad shot, I think this looks right. But then we can get to move on to 10th place, which is Byakko. Byakko has way too much health and does way too much damage and has way too much board manipulation to be bad. He just does. The trick of Double Jury defensively is so crazy. There is some cheeky shenanigans that you can do this character. I can't believe that Byakkos aren't playing beast summoning in their deck. Like it's just crazy to me that you're 3 mid for at minimum 8, at maximum 10, pay 4 health if you're 38 to go pick one up that re-readies your 3, 4, or 5 difficulty foundations. Like sometimes it's not a 4 diff, it's a 3 diff. Like it's just crazy that they're not doing that. And the amount of like, you know, board control that exists, being able to guarantee that you can hit a block. I think that Byakko is a silly character. Kind of doing everything that you want to do, truthfully. At 9th, I've got Elder Togoro. I think this character is everything that I had Annie and Recovery Girl is doing, but better. I have sat here and I have watched and I've played against Chris Bromley's. I've sat and I've watched him play against Chris Bromley's Dupler Elder Togoro, and it is genuinely so unfun to play against. The fact that Sports Festival Champion still exists in the game with this character is insane to me. The fact that we have more cards to just cheat in more things as your 7-hander, like it's so like this character's so silly. This character is so silly. I do think this character gets sometimes hard countered by things, but I don't know if those things are going to exist in the format. Things like Evade Copy are very good against this character. But man, it's just like defensively, if you can get ahead of Elder Togoro, I think that he can fold pretty easily. Like if you force him to use his switch to speed and damage on your rival's turn. And at the same time, he's very dependent on his face-up foundations. And so things like Byakko and destruction abilities are like really are very strong. And so like being able to get ahead of Elder Togoro is very good. As soon as he gets 1 ounce ahead of you, it's just game over. It's just over. At 8th, I have Double Jin. I think this guy hits too hard. I think that if you just like, I don't know how you stop a I'm running hot Devil Jin. I just don't know how you do it. If he just like finds the good one, he finds all the haymakers in his discard pile. Or is that what's called? A Titan Haymaker, something like that. The one that gives +2 damage while it's in the card pool. If he just finds those in his discard pile, followed by what's it called? Titan Armbar. Thank you, Co-Buddy. Thank you. Titan Armbar combined with things like Phantom Threat. Like he just plays. He just slams them. He just slams them. And so it's if you just find a bad hand, you just explode. My biggest issue is that when you play Devil Jin, and you don't find the good ones, what then? Should I have just played a different 5-hand size or maybe 6-hand size chaos character? Interesting. In 7th place, I have Ymir. I think that with things like smiling out of the picture, I think that Ymir has a lot of legs. I think that Ymir on turn 2, it's very easy for this character to build to 8, and then as the form build to 9, and then stop Bertolt Living Weapon from hitting the transform and like ruining your day before Ymir could just try and find the 30 through that damage reduction. And so when you take and you look at what Ymir has got going on, offensively, I think that she can hang with the big kids. I think the issue is what does the life symbol give you at the moment, and how do you like have this real survivability? Ymir is very, very good right now. I am such a huge fan of Ymir. To the point of like, I really want to try this character out more when it comes to playtesting for nationals. I think this character is very good. You just have to be able to survive when you don't draw the nuts. But when you draw the nuts, I think you're just the best evidence as character in the game. Up next, we've got Pony. I think Pony's ability to as you guys have seen, I'm a big fan of Air Pony. Big shout outs to Barrett. Thank you for putting me on air and not Earth like everybody else. I think that Pony is very good. I think the biggest issue with Pony is if you have a character that accidentally interacts and interrupts what Pony is doing, I think it's really hard for Pony when she's playing perfectly. If you have somebody that is interacting with what Pony's doing and your deck is not fully cooperating with you and letting you churn as you want, it's very easy to stop Pony in her tracks. I think if your rival does not do anything and you barely press the gas pedal at all as Pony, I think you murder them. I think it's so easy to accidentally find it. And when you find the absolute nuts, like when you pop off and it's time to kill them, I don't know how you survive against a Pony onslaught. She actually plays 20 attacks in one turn on +1 progressive difficulty, and that's it. She draws so many cards. She cycles through, like, everything's got a bunch of extra speed. It's the zone that you don't want. Like, it's just nuts. She just melts you. But you have just a little bit of interaction with her, like you stuff her card pool, or you destroy a very specific readied foundation, or something along those lines. I think that it is harder for Pony to dig herself out of that hole. At 5th place, I've got Mimic. I think with the addition of Soup, I think with the addition of things like Vertical, I think with the assets that we have gotten in Attack on Titan, I think this character is just very consistent and bursting out damage on turn 2, turn 3, without getting punished for it later on down the road. Anytime that you find triggers, you just like it's people will say trigger just looks like a fan-made card all the time. Like it just looks like a fake card that somebody would have been like it's broken in this character. Puts on a ton of damage. This character is combined with Knott's Flask is like, there's so much offense, there's so much defense. This character gets to run things like Cape with a straight face, because hey, if I'm not worried about your singular attacks, I'll just commit it to pass my checks and like just not care. I do think this character does have some holes, some chinks in the armor of like, hey, I need you to stop playing the game, or excuse me, as Mimic, you do have to have some amount of face down foundations, or some amount of foundations. And so like, once you get stunned out, I think that it's a little harder for Mimic to survive, but we do have tricks to make that happen, i.e. trigger. But yeah, I think this character is very strong. He's very consistent. Whenever you check your asset, grab Determined Advance from your discard pile is like one of the craziest things that you could do. Just like being able to play 1 to 2 Determined Advance over and 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 over again is just really, really strong. And so if there's a character to do it, it's this one. In 4th place, I've got Izuku Midoriya on the move. The reason that Midoriya is at 4th and not higher on this list is because I think that this character is actually like is everything that that Bertolt Hoover 1 wanted to be, of like, I just play UniVersus better than you. I just play it better than you. I think this character does get waxed by the things that are higher, and I think that the things that are higher are just going to be seen way more. And I think that there's some golden answers that you play that you have to play against Midoriya in order to feel good. And I think that as Midoriya, you have to play really, really, really good. You have to play correctly in order to make it happen. With that said, though, I mean, he's just literally better than everybody else. He has, you know, he's got 4 abilities on his character, 2 on the front, 2 on the back as a transforming character. I really wish that I put the other character on the other side. Like, he's just so good and so versatile, but I think that the character's higher. It's just tough. It's just tough. 3rd place, I have Godzilla. I think Godzilla just slams you. He just goes for the kill. I think if you let this character get any amount of momentum, the amount of stringing that he can do is insane. This character is allowed to just sack you if you don't have any disruption with on turn 1, I'm going to build my 4 foundations. On turn 2, I have 4 attacks in a city rampage. I'm just going to play them all. These attacks are going to let me draw more attacks, and so on and so forth. And then on turn 4, once I've hit you with a couple moves, now it doesn't matter what my foundation base looks like because I've got +2 on all of my attacks. I have 34 health as a chaos character. And if things are starting to get out of hand, I can just nuke the stage and say, let's reset, and I'm going to try and, you know, scoop the win that way. I think that Godzilla is very, very good. And I think that he's allowed to just play through your classic disruption right now just fine. Just fine. In 2nd place, I've got Bertolt Hoover, Living Weapon. I think this guy is so unbelievably consistent when it comes to his ability to draw and then discard cards. The +2 and -2 damage is so hard to chew through his 31, especially with the cards that say, if they enter the discard pile, give another +2 or -2. His ability to reset the board and leave the 3, and then on his backside, every attack draws you a card, stuns them 1, gets the 2 damage, removes itself from the card pool so you don't play on any progressive. Like, it's so easy to just fall and accidentally win as this character. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. Man, everything seems, when it comes to Bert, is you are playing on Bert's time. Bert is always the beatdown as your 5 hand size character. He's just going to be more consistent than you. He's going to draw more cards than you. Like he is the boogeyman of the format. But I don't think that he is the best character. I don't think that he's the best character. For that, I'm still just going to have to give it to Rodan. I think Rodan is very silly. We have been gifted a for free draw 3 card on a move that is unbelievably fast. Being able to look at the top 2 to 4 cards of your deck and put them back however you want is cheating and not fair. And this move, this character giving plus or minus stats equal to the block modifier of whatever you have, not to mention all the free draw that you have, not to mention this character has just a ton of disruption under all 3 symbols that you could be playing. It's very, 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 very strong. I think that Rodan is the clear number 1 character here. I think that the amount of speed bonus that you give is great. The amount of speed reduction that you give is great. I think that these 3 symbols are not missing anything when it comes to being able to, on the non-character card side of things, give the stats that you want to give back. Whenever you look at a thing like Bertolt or Godzilla trying to minus or whatever, I think the biggest thing is that Rodan, it's so hard to interact with what Rodan is doing on their turn, as well as if you're not, you know, if you're playing lazy attacks, Rodan's just going to block everything you've got going on your turn. Not to mention all of the things that you are getting from the new cards. We have access to, on Void Attuned, we have a cancel that is just free. I'll put it in my card pool and not care about it. We have a draw 3 card that I don't care about. We have an asset that if I block their move, I ask them to play a non-attack card, which like hoses the last 2 characters in the thing. It is just it's so easy to just see what Rodan has got going on, and just like he's just head and shoulders above everybody else. And so with that, there is my top 30. I'm really happy with my top 10. I do think that my top 10 is very good. I think the only character that might be out of place is Devil Jin, but boy howdy, I think it's just so easy to, like, if you just draw the good ones, he's the best character on the chaos symbol to just like, oh, I drew the good ones, you exploded. Just kaboom. But let me know what you guys think about my top 30. Wait, you did, because now it is time to look at the community's top 30 list. That's right. Every time that I put out one of these, I actually make a survey that I put out that you can find on my Discord, and I put them on the actual main Discord, and I put them on Facebook and yada yada, where I take and I get a list. I think that I can actually go find the number, because I think the number is important. Find the number of votes that I was given. I click here, and I click announcements, and we scroll a bit. Everybody hold on, hold your horses. Here's the survey. Pause, everybody. Oh, I need to look at results. This is, obviously, I made this survey about half a week ago. There are currently 6,313 total votes for what happened with this community survey. I did not see the survey. Join my Discord. I added everybody. And even, this is crazy, I made a video for it. So with that, here is your guys' top 30. With Amajiki at number 1, Godzilla at number 2, Ymir at number 3, Reiner at number 4, Pony at number 5, Bert at number 6, Mimic at number 7, Midoriya at number 8, Rodan at number 9, and Overhaul at number 10. So, your top 10, I think the craziest thing here is Overhaul. I think Overhaul is like an insane pick at your number 10. I think that guy does not have enough juice to push up above some of these other ones. But all of these characters were on my list, right? As you look through 11 through 20, we have Ochako, who is new. We have the second Aaron, Humanity's Hope. We also have the first Aaron, all inside as newcomers to the list. I kind of been looking at like what does Ochako really get from the most recent stuff? And the answer is, I don't think very much. I don't think it's very much. And then your 21 through 30. I think you guys are I mean, this was in my lower slot. I think Mario's too high. I think Endeavor, Smiling is too high. I think his character's just too slow now. Jester, as much as I want Jester from the top 30, I actually think that giving your rival a momentum right now will get you killed. I think that there's just too many good things that they can do with a momentum that they'll just murder you for it. So I just don't think the Jester is inside of it. Disrespecting Elder. Mothra, chat, I gotta let you know, as cool as you are, you're not George Zhang. All right, you gotta get this Mothra idea out of your head. Are you down? Are you down? You want Mothra to be good, but I just don't think she is. And then I thought Reiner was a really interesting spot. I thought Reiner was really interesting. I don't I don't really see it. I guess like enhance, you get to like stop them, or like you get to ruin them to like stop Bert from transforming. But a lot of people play Bert on the front side and just like trying to murder you. And then I think for Wolfwood, I think you guys are out of your minds because we lost Twisting, right? Like Twisting's gone. Like, that's the card that like made that character unfair, like made the character stupid, and it's just gone. I don't think the solo leveling stuff is going to save this character enough to move on. But here is the comparison of the two lists. I'll let you guys take in and look this in. Things that are on my list that are not on yours. Things like Recovery Girl is on mine, and Erwin Smith is on mine. I had Kenny on mine. You guys had Rodan all the way down here. I can't believe you guys put Amajiki at 1. But with that said, you guys, thank you much for watching the video. This is my 30 list, obviously. What is your 30 list? You can leave them in the description, or the comments of this YouTube video, and /or have a discussion over on my Discord about it. And for everybody who's like, but I didn't get a chance to participate in the survey, well, unmute my Discord. I know that I @ everybody too much, but it's my server, and you should just get over it. You should just get over it and come watch the streams. With that said, thank you much for watching this video, you guys. I'm going to hang out with chat for the next 10 minutes and talk about the lists. If you missed out on that, come join me on Twitch. All right, goodbye, everybody.